Hello everybody, Regi time here, and this morning, or today, we are playing a 40NL and 60NL Australian dollar session on Potbombers, which is my probably my favourite PvP club. It's close because I like Club Miners too, but I think it's just about my favourite, and it's certainly with my favourite people to work with on these clubs. Quick shout out to the Potbombers guys. Anything I ask them for, they try their best to accommodate me. They're very quick, very efficient, good setup, good bunch of guys. So yeah, if you're looking for some safe app games to play in, and with some safe clubs and some like very, very solid, reliable guys, then I'm your man. The agent I work with, your man, and these guys are the men too. So yeah, if you're watching this video on my channel, get in touch through me and I can get you into the games. If you're watching this video through Poker Hobbit's channel, then get in touch with him and he'll get you in the games. Anyway, get in touch with somebody with the details beneath either video and they will be able to get you into these games very quickly. And yeah, it's something that you need to be doing if you want to get into some of the softest games. You'll find that I played during the daytime hours, GMT. I'm currently playing this session at 10 to 11 in the morning. As you can see, we have fish at every table, a 71, a 65 and a 61 and a VPIP at this table. Here we have a 57 VPIP, a 45 and a 76. And at this table we have a 43, a 61, 29/9, and there this like 48-23 guys. So we have bad players at every table. That's what we need to be doing. That's the first part of the equation, getting good games with bad players. Second part of the equation is play well and get your share of the action. So hopefully that's what we'll achieve in this video. Can't guarantee to win, but we can try and guarantee to at least play well. So then we've done two parts of the diagram. Then we've got in good games, we're going to play well, and then if we win or lose, well, that's kind of a little bit out of our hands. But if we do the first two bits right, then the third bit is sure to follow long term. Not going to c-bet here multi-way against two opponents. I would have c-bet versus one, but against two, particularly well, especially this guy. I mean, tempted to bet now just to get a little bit of value from my hand, but I mean, even against, but I don't know, it just feels too thin to bet, basically. Whether we end up calling rivers if betting two, I don't know. Well, fuck me. Regi, pay attention, that's not playing well, is it? I thought this dude was in the pot too. And I guess we just go for some thin value now. I guess he can call us with a lot worse given we've checked 3 times, and he does. That is bad by me. For some reason I thought we were multi-way. We're not. Maybe we only had a 1 street hand anyway. Maybe we've got away with that, but pay attention, Reg. There was 61-18 who's raised under the gun to 3x. 4x, 3.5x. Don't think we're going to play the ace jack versus him. Of that stack depth anyway, I mean, of a larger stack depth where we could possibly try and outplay him post flop in one way or another, then it possibly, well, it definitely would have been a call. But versus Zach's stack depth with like an ace jack offsuit, don't really want to be playing it. I don't think, don't need to be playing it. So we're going to see a showdown to see if our decision was vindicated or not. Knew the all-in was coming, that was obvious. I think he's probably going to get it through too. Get this player tag purple while we're at it. And yeah, pocket 10, so our ace jack would have been a flip. I suppose with our positional advantage and having like reasonable equity versus pocket 10s, it would have been a profitable situation for us, but we weren't to know that at the time. Be a nice time to see a cool flop, wouldn't it? Sadly, we do not see a cool flop though. Try my best to play my best today. In recent sessions, don't feel like I've played anywhere near my best. I think I've been focusing too much on trying to play a bit more loose and entertaining style of poker, and not enough on just trying to play well. As we see a three-way all in here with some quality holdings. Everyone's drawing live to the river, and the pocket fours that make the set hold. Let's hope this guy reloads. Be a shame to lose a 71-22 guy. I'm going to 3-bet the 6-5 suited here versus a regular. It's going to be isolating pretty wide, you'd imagine, versus this 79/1's limp. I don't want to just call, and we take it down. This guy has reloaded. Let's now hope he gets a bit of a spin up going on, because he's only reloaded for 10, which suggests to me he might be on case money. Because I think 12 would... Oh no, ignore me. It's a 14 on table, not a 16 on table. So he probably isn't on case money if he's reloaded for a round amount. It's a pretty uninspiring flop for our Jack 9, out of position in a multi-way pot. We're just going to shut it down immediately. I think it's a board we'd normally want to see bet heads up, even though we have a really poor hand in relation to the board. But in a multi-way situation where we need runner to make anything happen, then it's just a spot where we're going to give up with a pretty high frequency. Turn would have given us some hope, but we would not have got there. But we have a holding now where we will most certainly be trying to invest some more chips pre-flop. You have a limp under the gun from 31-17, which is weird. 43-6 min raised. We want to make this like 14 blinds here, something like that. So 14 blinds is 560. He could be on a limp raise to 31-17. Probably don't do that much limping, but not this time. And the ace pops, which is pretty disgusting. We don't want to be starting check calling against 43-6s. We're just going to put like a smallish bet out here. Puke if he raises. I mean, we're just hoping he fucks off now, of course. Need your raises, and we just give up and feel a little bit sad with the situation. I mean, he snap raised too. We're going to pretend we got a decision, but deep down we haven't. And we just need to be betting that board with a very high frequency. I know when we bet kings there, it kind of hurts our check calling range a little bit, because I've been betting on my ace x2 as well, but against a fish, not remotely worried about that. I mean, against a good player, maybe we need to check aces there sometimes on that board, but it's just a board that when we 3-bet pre-flop and it's ace high, we're going to be wanting to have an incredibly high betting frequency on that board, so we can just get away with using small sizes. Just a shame that time we didn't have the A in our hand. We had the 2 Ks, which was not what you want to see, but never mind. I'm hitting the ISO button here on table 1. Given there's been 2 limpers, we're going to bump it up pretty huge because this guy's got a 61 VPIP. So we're going to make this 6.5x. Get a smooth call out of the small blind. Ah, well, there wasn't 2 limpers. Regi, start paying more attention, you fucking idiot. There's only 1 limper, wasn't there? So that was, well, it wasn't too big because we still picked up a caller, but it was too big given the action that had gone before us. We get called here. And someone who supposed to see bets with a reasonable frequency. That is not a turn card we're going to barrel. Just going to shut it down here versus the fish. Hope to improve. We don't. It's going to be sickening here if we check and we just lose to like, I don't know, fucking 8-7 or pocket 3s, pocket 6s, that type of thing, which I think is going to have a lot. The queen comes on the river, it's tempted to bluff, but these just aren't the guys that I'm going to try and make for 1 pair on a board as dry as this. Pocket 6s, yeah, it's annoying. But the board just wasn't favourable for us to like keep bluffing there against the types of hands I expect he's calling us with on the flop. Sometimes you've got to know when to get out of a bluff, sometimes you've got to know when to continue with the bluff. And in my experience tells me against these types of players, trying to make them fall 1 pair on like relatively dry boards, it's just a recipe for frustration and defeat. Been getting my grind back on a little bit this week. I've been not as busy as I expected. One of the jobs that I took recently hasn't worked out as well from my perspective as I was hoping. So I gave notice on it, and fortunately the crisis team that I am part of hasn't had too many crises to deal with, which is a good thing, because it means that there aren't too many people, or aren't as many people as we've perhaps first envisaged, like, really suffering during this lockdown that we're living through in the UK. So I've kind of prepared myself to be working lots of hours over the last few weeks, and yeah, I haven't been working as many as I'd anticipated for various reasons, but none of that is a bad thing. It has allowed me more time to play poker, to focus on my poker related activities. And yeah, the only downside has been I've made a couple of videos and had some technical issues, and one nosebleed issue where I was making a video and I had a nosebleed, which has never happened before. Can't remember if I produced that video in the end or not, if I gave up with it. Don't remember. It happened at least 2 days ago, and how am I supposed to remember shit like that? Yeah, I've got me at the moment. I just have my grinding shoes on and I'm enjoying it. It's been a while since I've felt like this with poker, and it is It is good. Really enjoying the game. Enjoying the games that I'm in. I'm enjoying where my game's at the moment. My default strategies seem to be working really well in these games. Obviously, the default strategies because of these games. It wouldn't be my default strategies in other games. If I was, for example, playing 15 Zoom, my default strategy would get picked apart quite comfortably. But in these games, my default strategy, it keeps me out of trouble. It doesn't miss value. It ensures that I am kind of bluffing at decent frequencies on flops, and then when I'm adjusting on turns. So basically, I guess my default strategy, mostly against fish, is on the flop, I will just bet boards that are favourable for my range and check boards that aren't favourable for my range, irrespective of my hand. So, if, for example, if I had aces on this flop, I would probably be checking it. I would probably be checking almost all of my range on this flop because it's not a board that typically you're going to be betting or having mini bluffs with against these types of players. On the high card boards, even when I've got, say it came down ace, king, 3, if I had like the 9-7 suited, I'd be betting it because it's the kind of board you want to be betting on with a high frequency. And then on turns and rivers against the fish, I'm just reverting to play my absolute hand strength. So if I have a really strong hand and I've been called on the flop, then I'm just going to keep betting and betting quite big. If I have a weak hand, I'm giving up. So that's pretty simple, basic, easy to follow default strategy that works really well against bad players and then against regulars, and trying to continue kind of playing how I think my range wants to play, board textures, runouts, etc., rather than how my actual hand wants to play. So it's something we talked about on the channel before, whereas on flops against everybody, I'm just playing how my range wants to play, and on turns, rivers, against fish, I'm playing how my hand wants to play, and against regulars, I'm still trying to play close to how I think my range wants to play. Now, I'm not a GTO guy or anything like that, but I have a decent understanding of which board textures favour which players at any given time, and when board textures favour me, I'm tending to be quite aggressive versus regulars, and when board textures don't favour me, I'm tending to be quite passive, and I'm actually trying to ignore my hand strength a little bit in those situations. But against fish, it's all about my hand strength from the turn and the river. So it's not a difficult it's not a difficult strategy to reproduce, as long as you understand which board textures favour which players when we're up against regs rather than fish. Pretty easy strategy for you to adopt yourself, and it does work really well. So here we're in against a fish. It's a board we'd want to bet with our range anyway, and we also actually have a top pair, so we're going to try and get 3 streets here unless our opponent raises at some point. Now we're up against a fish, and it turns bad for us, so it's like now I want to be thinking about how does my actual hand want to play, and he snap donked this turn. I don't think we can fold just yet, but I'm very unlikely going to be calling too many rivers here, although that's one that we're going to be continuing to put more action in on. The only question is, are we going to raise or just call? And we're certainly going to raise versus that size. We're not going to raise too big though, we're going to make it like 8 or something, because I don't think he's that strong. And I want to make sure that we get the call from the ace. And we did get the call from the ace. He took an unusual line, and we did well from it. Here again, we're up against a fish. So we're going to be going up with 3 streets of value with our kings. Again, we get a pretty unfavourable turn card. Still think we want to be betting here. Maybe this is the last street we bet though. Maybe we bet this here and then check back rivers. And we certainly give up on this river. That's a very disappointing run out. I don't expect to win too often here. In fact, we're going to get the reload ready. And we don't win because Queen 8 somehow managed to find a call on the flop, but never mind, we can live with that. And then he just deals us the Queen 8 the very next hand to rub salt in the wound. But I mean, you're not happy to lose the hand, but you're happy to see that people are just like snap floating Queen 8 on Jack XX dry-ish. You love to see it. So we do have 2 limits here this time. So we are going to go with the 6.5x ISO raise. You get the flat call out of the small blind. We're going to want to see a nice flop here, given we'd very like to, we don't mind seeing him jam actually. I think we'd like that a lot. Because then we could re-jam. Sadly we don't see the jam. We do see the Queen Deuce Deuce. I'm not sure how I feel about this flop. I think if we're ahead pre-flop, we're very likely to still be ahead now. Our hand could probably do with looking after itself a little bit here, so we're going to make a $3 continuation bet just to make sure that we don't give diamonds any free hits or any like King X or Ace X that's out there. The diamonds do get there on the turn. There's another interesting line from a bad player. I think this pot's just getting too big to float here with the 10 of diamonds. I think we just have to give up. We're behind to Deuce X, we're behind to flushes, we're behind to Queen X. We don't get there that often versus any of those hands. So we're just going to fold. Not c-bet in this flop. I don't think I have enough equity to. I mean, we could try and rep the king here, but again, we're not taking a very credible line so far. We're not going to get any pairs to fold. We're not going to get a heart to fold. We have very poor equity when called. We can't really fire off many rivers, so we just let it go. Five suited. I mean, we 3-bet a similar hand to this last time versus this guy, but he's not isolated someone this time. He's just opening under the gun, so we're going to not get in his way. We're just going to move out the way with our 6-5 suited. It's not a hand. 6-5 suited isn't a hand I'm going to want to play very often versus a regular anyway. Not looking to tangle with regulars. We're not on these soft apps to get involved in pissing contests with regulars. We're in these soft apps to play with 44 6s, 57 20s, 44 5s, etc. I mean, if we have to tangle with a regular, then we will, but it's not why we're here. You're rooting for here. Just rooting for the fold to keep everyone reasonably stacked. Don't want any of these fish to disappear, unless it's us that's dispatching them, because there's a chance it might be replaced by a regular, and that isn't good. And it's disappeared anyway, which is a shame. not sure if I mentioned this in the previous video or not, but I've been watching a lot of the old high stakes poker lately on Poker Go. And by the way, if you are bored in lockdown and you are struggling for things to watch, I would highly recommend subscribing to Poker Go just for their stuff that's in their vault section now. They've got so much old poker content, some interesting new poker content that they created. They got some stick when they first started, but if you're a poker enthusiast, and I'm presuming you are if you're watching my little YouTube channel, then yeah, I would highly recommend getting a Poker Go subscription and enjoying their old content, their old high stakes poker content, their old WSOP content, etc. It's excellent. Anyways, I've been watching the old high stakes poker, and tell you what, Tom Dwan, what an intro. I mean, I was a huge Tom Dwan fanboy back in the day. Then you forget about him a little bit. Wow, when he came into high stakes poker on season 5, he completely changed the dynamic and the nature of the show. It was just fucking phenomenal to watch. He came on, he played with absolute zero fucks, and he put a lot of old nits who on the previous seasons were like, you could see them knowing, like nodding winks, nodding smiles to each other. Look at us, aren't we good? Full of really, really like smug old school pros who were probably quite shit, but they had the privilege of being well connected and getting on high stakes poker TV shows with fish. And then Tom Duran just came on and he just smashed their world to pieces. And very few of them could cope with him, and it's an absolute joy to watch. If you do get Poker Go, and when you get to High Stakes Poker Season 5, you will really enjoy watching Tom Duran beat up some really old school nits pretty fucking ruthlessly. It's a joy to watch. The first, I think, 5 or 6 episodes of High Stakes Poker Season 5, an absolute classic for the ages, and then the very next ones after that, like episodes 6 through 10 or whatever, they're just appalling. It's like the worst. It's like the best of High Stakes Poker, the worst. The table's made up of. It's not a bad lineup on paper. It's like Negreanu, Esfandiari, Antonius, Lack, all entertaining guys to watch. Then it goes like Lederer, Sam Simon, Joe Hasham, and Nick Cassavetes, who are all dull as fuck. And fuck me, Lederer, how bad did he play? At the start of one of the episodes, like someone goes in the professor, he says, yeah, with emphasis on the pro, like a really smug voice. Then he just plays like a horrible fucking nit for the entire 3 or 4 shows he's on, and gets absolutely destroyed by Dwan on a couple of occasions, which is good to watch. I mean, I didn't like Howard Lederer at the time. That he was a boring, smug cunt, and then obviously had the Full Tilt scandal, which just made him a cunt. And yeah, watching him in that show really did make my teeth itch how badly he played. I like just crap and weak tight. He'd probably get away with that in the games he used to play in, but in that game, he was never going to get away with it. He was a worse player, in my opinion, than both Sam Simon and Nick Cassavetes at that table. And trust me, Sam Simon weren't good. He was just like a bad nit. But fuck me, Lederer was bad. But maybe that's slightly, influenced by my revulsion for the man in general. And the fact I'm talking about high stakes poker probably indicates that we've been a little bit card dead in the last 10 minutes or so. Hopefully that's about to start changing, and this Queen 10 will be the first thing to change it. We've been 3-bet here, but only small. So we're going to have to defend our Queen 10 suited and just proceed with caution post flop. Hit a Queen, so I guess we're going to have to check call the flop. He checks back, which is interesting. He's got 50% C bet. I think you can have ace king, pocket jacks, pocket tens, etc. here. I'm going to check again. Don't want to run into any like slow plays he had on the flop. Checking back to try and deceive me. We do run the risk of an ace or a king coming up on the river. And I think now he's going to bet really quite big and just try and get value from like pocket jacks, stuff like that. Don't think he's checking back better twice. Ace king, fair enough. I think I had an opponent, going back to this hand here, I think I had an opponent made 2 mistakes there. On the pre-flop, he made his 3-bet too small. I made it 180, he just made it 360. He should have been making that up to like early, like low $5, high $4 type number. And the flop, very dry flop, queen high. He should just be c-betting his entire range on that board versus me. Well, versus anyone really, and he didn't. So they were his 2 mistakes. He kind of like just gave up on the pot. The minute he didn't hit, he just gave up on the pot, which is typical of what you find of a lot of these fishy type players, and that's exactly where skill advantage comes in, because if those roles were reversed, I may or may not have won that pot, but I would have played the hand a lot better than him long term. So I would have made more money with my ace king there than he did, because he made yeah, I'm not sure how I'm trying to word this, but basically a good player would have made more of that situation than he did. I mean, I think he could see bet the flop, queen low low, dry board. He's going to have a lot of success with that c-bet, and he turns loads of equity with the heart, so he could profitably make like a really big barrel. And yeah, he didn't play the hand very well at all. But you wouldn't expect a 46-13 to play well very often, to be fair. Already have 2 limps on table 2. Hopefully this guy was going to go with an ISO. I think we're going to make this like a pretty big sizing here. There's already 3 limps, already 270 in the pot, so there's already nearly 5 blinds in the pot. I'm going to make this like 9 blinds, which is what, 540. We're in a position. We're happy to set the pot down now. We're happy to get heads up against one player. There's already 5 blinds in the pot nearly. So we're going to put 9 blinds in an attempt to win the 5. We do not. The 41-5's called us. It's just not a board I'm going to want to see. But it's disappointing to put like so many blinds in pre-flop and then get a board where we need to check on a lot. But we do. We just need to be checking this board a lot. People who limp call do not check fold on these boards too often. And then with him going with a massive overbet, it kind of almost makes you want to call, but he's probably just doing it with a pair and doesn't want me to like hit with whatever it is that he's putting me on. So sadly we do not win that pot, but that's poker. It's a shame that most of our like reasonable pre-flop holdings haven't developed in a way that allows us to play much post-flop poker so far. We've kind of been in situations where we've hit well and not got any action, or we've completely missed and been forced to play defensively. See what happens sometimes when you make live sweat poker videos. Sometimes things just don't work out, and this looks like it might be one of those occasions. quite liking the tables we've got. I might make this a 2-video session actually. This might be a little 2-parter coming up. How long have we played for here? Yeah, another 3 or 4 minutes on this video, then maybe jump straight into the next one. Try and get 2 40-minute videos out of the session. Be nice. We'll probably play this ace queen and then break the video into 2. 57.20 has opened. Full to 3-bet of just 6%, so we're certainly going to 3-bet our ace queen for value here. We want to make it about 4 times his open, given that we're out of position. Jams, we'll probably just have to go with it. He doesn't, he just snap calls instead. Get a very reasonable flop. Better flop jam turns, can read the line here. Careful not to snap it in too quick. He folds. So unfortunately we don't get full value there, but I think we took a very standard line and just didn't get paid off. So next time there's a situation where we're not involved in any pots, we're going to end the video. This seems like a good time as any. We're not going to be continuing with the Jack 10. So we'll leave it there for this video. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. It's been a bit different. We've been trying to be a bit more sensible, talk a bit more strategy. And well, we're going to play this King 10 now, aren't we? So we'll leave the sign off for a moment. Okay, we're not going to be playing the King 10. So yeah, we'll leave it there, everybody. We'll do the sign off while we watch this all-in situation. Hope you guys have enjoyed the video. It's been a bit different. The next one's going to be the same. So if you enjoyed this, be sure to catch the next one. If you didn't enjoy it, then fuck the next one off, I guess. Yeah, do take care, everybody. Stay safe, stay well, look after yourselves, and yeah, have a good weekend. And we'll see you all soon. Bye-bye for now, everyone.